There we go. Tuesday, September 4th, 15 game slate after what you might want to call the worst slate in the entire season. I hated it. It went poorly. And you know what? I'm ready to just have a big one today. I need to put the good vibes out there so I can bring the good vibes back in by the end of the night. Jake, how'd your Monday shake out? How was your Labor Day?
Not good. Yeah, it was a bad slate. Just nothing. I mean, I didn't have one single lineup that was contending. I didn't have, like I said, Padres stack, so no Franmil Reyes. He double donged off all my godly, so I kind of knew I was dead there, but that's all right. Got to take a stand in a 5-gamer, and I paid for it last night.
I don't want to go back to the video where I was just like, should I have a lot of Rays? Because that probably would have helped me.
Yeah, that would have helped.
Talk myself into Orioles instead. So that was fantastic.
I mean, the only reason I didn't lose all my money is because Chirinos had like 18.
Yeah, he went crazy.
So I saved myself there, made up some ground. I had like 30% of a 5% owned guy. That was one of the highest scoring pitchers on the night.
Just ridiculous. Absolutely, incredibly ridiculous. What did he finish with? Chirinos. He's not on here. Shit. I don't have it. Whatever. Not important. Erasmo Ramirez, though. 22. Just awesome starting pitcher, you know?
Yeah.
Enough about the slop. Well, go ahead.
That just sums it up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Enough about the slop from yesterday. Let's do this. First game up. Cardinals and Nats. Cardinals 4.6 run implied total. Nats 4.5. It's a 51% chance to win for the Cardinals. Miles Michaelis going for St. Louis. Eric Fede going for Washington. Normally I'm on a guy like Michaelis, but this is not the best spot against the Nats. Fede, though, 5,300 on DK. I think he looks like a really nice SP2. What do you think?
Yeah, Fede is a good punt. I like. There's just not much that's below like Giolito that I really want to mess with. And Fede, it's kind of the guy I think I'll have a bunch of exposure to in this 5K range. He's pretty much stretched out. In his last minor league start, I think he threw pitches in the 80s.
He went 6 no-hit innings or something like that.
Yeah, so he's let's see, 83. There we go. 83 was getting swinging strikes. With 6 innings, like that's pretty efficient. 6 innings right there. I don't know. He looks pretty solid to me in AAA. I'm not saying he's going to come up and go 6 innings here, but if he can give me 5 and a few strikeouts, I'll gladly take that as a punt play against a bunch of righties too.
Yeah, I agree. No ownership as of yet that I can see. Oh, there it is. There we go. Perfect timing. Let's grab that, and then we'll see how much we actually like Eric Fede.
I doubt he's going to be very...
Jared, good. Is today your first baseball day?
What's up?
He said, who is Michaelis?
No, he said... Wait, who Michaelis?
Yeah.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, it's Michaelis, right? I'm right now.
You're right.
Okay.
All right. Kind of what I expected, actually. So
yeah, so far so good. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I was hoping that it would just look weirder for some strange reason.
Yeah. Arietta out there. Ugh.
Do I have the wrong schedule or something?
For what?
It's Cardinals Nats, right?
Yeah.
Okay. People are like, who's Michaelis? One person's like, I thought Washington was playing the Phillies. I started to think that I did all of the wrong work today.
Phillies, Marlins.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I didn't think there was a situation where I just got the wrong slate. Seems like it's pretty tough to pull off.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
So, Fede, 3% expected ownership. That's going to be my spot to go for value.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's just fine. Like he's just decent enough that you could take a chance here. He's going to get positive matchups. Maybe not for strikeouts as much, but like I said, 7 righties here. It's a pretty good matchup for right-handed pitcher coming up.
Yeah, it's just that price point at 53. There's not really anything else. Like I don't think Trevor May and Liam Hendricks aren't in play at 4,000. So it's either go to what amounts to be the chalk Francisco Liriano, or find somebody else low. And I think Fede, fits the bill a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. Any Nats bats against Michaelis?
Not really. A little bit of Turner, a little bit of Harper on DK, but I mean, he's too good as like a regular pitcher for me to want to really go hard on the Nats. Not like they have a great implied total or anything. So I don't see anything as particularly viable here. I'll have some Cardinals stacks. The Molina, Martinez, Ozuna section is always kind of appealing to me, just because you get Molina, catcher, but it's relatively chalky as well. Nothing very interesting in this game. We're going to say that a lot. A lot of these totals are in like the 4.2 to 4.8 range. So there's like 16 teams that look exactly the same.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. So the 2 hitters I really like from this game are Harper and Soto. You just look at Michaelis' numbers. He's really handling righties well, lefties not as much. Striking him out under 16%, 135 whip, and then near 26% line drive rate, bunch of hard contact overall. So I think you can attack him a little bit with lefties, and Harper and Soto are certainly good ones.
Yeah. Otherwise, this game is just sort of uneventful. Either team could pop off. I mean, it's really terrible analysis, but there are so many like just shrug your shoulders and hope for the best games today. To the Reds we go. Reds and Pirates. Reds 3.9 run implied total. Pirates 4.5. 57% chance to win for the Pirates. Cody Reed going for Cincinnati. Joe Musgrove going for Pittsburgh. I've got a little bit of Musgrove. Similarly to the public, where we have him at 6%, I've got 7. It's the Reds. There's not a ton in this lineup outside of noted incredible baseball player Eugenio Suarez. Look, like Musgrove's fine. It's just over and over teams that are just, they work really well as filler, and then suddenly my entire lineup is filler. Do you like? How much do you like Musgrove?
I think he's guy definitely going to have exposure to. Definitely want to be over the field at 6%, or would you say 6% or 3? No, 3 was for Fetty. I just think he's a good pitcher, and not all that scared. Like, you get to face Suarez righty. I mean, I'm not that worried about Votto's power. Like Peraza and Hamilton up there, they can be troublesome if they get on base, but if Musgrove is cruising here and he keeps those 2 guys off the base paths, I think he could have a really nice start. So 7K, I'm interested. Like it's pretty simple. He's a decent favorite against a team that I don't love targeting against for strikeouts, but when you're 7K and I think you're already underpriced, I'm more than willing to do that with Musgrove.
Completely agree. I do have a little interest in Pirates bats. They're my number 5 stack on FanDuel, number 8 on DraftKings. I'm almost double the field on FanDuel. Tons of Starling Marte, quite a bit of Corey Dickerson, even in the lefty-lefty matchup. Not too worried about that. And then Josh Harrison, minimum salary second base option on FanDuel. I think that's a really appealing punt play. Otherwise, again, it's not like the most exciting thing in the world.
Yeah, I really like Cervelli here, but that is kind of it against Reed. Like, Pirates just don't have guys that mash lefties besides Cervelli. Bell's okay. Cervelli's really the only one I can see myself getting a bunch of exposure to as like a one-off catcher.
Sure. Yeah, I love Cervelli. I like him generally just because of where he hits in the order. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Anything on the Reds besides your boy Suarez?
I don't even know if I'll have much Suarez, but he would probably be the guy I would go to.
I mean, Votto, obviously, but Like he's
fine.
He's
just exactly. He's just fine. He's not someone I'm dying to play here.
Oh, God. That is going to be quite the story moving forward. Lots of fine. I hope like 45 guys sit today out of guys that we liked, and it just blows up this entire slate.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
To another game that is essentially blurry. Rays and Blue Jays. Rays 4.2 run implied total. Blue Jays 4.3. It's a 51% chance to win for the Jays. I'm expecting Jalen Beeks to be the main starter for the Rays. Ryan Barucki going for Toronto. I'm not going to have either of these guys. You could probably make yourself a case for Beeks. I'm not going to make that case. It's again, I don't really want Beeks. I don't really want Barucki, and I don't really want any of the bats. Anything standing out to you or something that you're trying to target?
Yeah, I like Beeks quite a bit. He just looks so much better. And he's striking out lefties, he's striking out righties. He had those 2 disaster starts, and his numbers are still suffering because of those. But I mean, he just looks way, way better lately, missing bats and getting chases and all the good things that I like to see. So it's a Toronto team where he's going to be very low owned. I mean, he's $6K. You're not getting him for free anymore. Yeah. But so I get it if he's not the highest upside option unless he just goes 5 innings with 8 strikeouts or something like that. But still do have interest just because I'm looking for other guys besides Giolito that I want to use in this range. And Beeks is someone I know is talented, and there is some strikeout upside against Toronto.
That is very true. There are a couple guys with a ton of swing and miss. In theory, I don't mind having a line or two of Beeks. I don't expect him to get too much ownership. Rays bats 5% aggregate on both sites, which I thought was kind of interesting. Decent amounts of Tommy Pham and Kiermaier. I don't really have any interest in the Rays. Do you?
Say that again. I was reading the chat. Sorry.
Do you have any interest in the Rays bats?
Pham. Oh wait, I thought it was gonna be Gaviglio for a second there on the night shift. I was expecting Gaviglio, so I was gonna be on Malk Smith and Tommy Pham for the speed, but against Barucki, man, I guess it would just be probably Pham for 4,500. But I don't really want to use any of these guys.
Nope.
Against a lefty. So am I just like overlooking Barucki then?
I mean, if you are, everyone is.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing. It's like, oh well, I don't really want to play Barucki, but then you go down this lineup and it's like maybe Tommy Pham is a guy I would use against him, but
like I don't have a problem with Pham, but it's one of those situations where I don't expect Ryan Barucki to have a good DFS day. And I don't think that the Rays are the type of team that has, I'm going to eat this 12 hours from now, but, it's not like the Rays are this awesome, constant breakout offensive team. Like, I don't think they're just going to like single and double and triple teams to death. And Barucki will have minimal upside, not much of a strikeout guy. It's just ugly. It's really ugly.
It is.
Any Blue Jays bats? I'm matching the field at 3% on DraftKings. A little bit of Gurriel if he's hitting second, and that's mostly because he's got dual eligibility. I guess I could get back on the Kendry Morales train. He should be, he hits lefties significantly better than he hits righties. So I think Morales is probably decent as a one-off. I guess. I don't know.
Any Grichuk for you or Lourdes Gurriel? Those are 2 guys I'm looking at.
Gurriel, yes. Grichuk, just a little bit. But I think that if I had to pick one guy manually out of the Blue Jays, it would be Morales.
Okay. Yeah, can't say you're wrong there. Three pretty interesting games. Actually, a lot of them are. But.
Why would anyone play Pham? I don't know how to answer that without being sarcastic.
Low ownership against a lefty.
Yeah, that's all those sorts of things would be some of my first answers.
You can basically make a case for anyone on any baseball slate.
But I mean, like, Pham's good. He's not just like kind of good. He's actually good.
Yeah.
Blue Jays Park, little bit above average for right-handed power. So, righty-lefty, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Moving on to another game that has just a blurry total. Phillies, 4-run implied total. Marlins, 3.4. The 57% chance to win for the Phils. Jake Arrieta going for Philadelphia. Trevor Richards going for Miami. Richards, 11% expected ownership. I only have 6. The guy that I'm looking at a little bit more, Jake Arrieta, 14% expected ownership. I've got 22. I have a feeling you're going to flip-flop those numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I like Richards. Just, he's got this really awesome changeup that when he's going up against a bunch of lefties, I'm always going to have interest in him. And 7,300 isn't the price that's going to make people want him all that much, I don't think. But there are some lefties with strikeout upside, like Asdrubal Cabrera and Nick Williams and Odubel Herrera. Ramos and Rhys Hoskins are really scary in this matchup because if he hangs that changeup against them, he's cooked. But 7,300, I will have a bunch of Trevor Richards. What do we have him for ownership right now?
11.
Showing up on mine.
11%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. And then Arrieta, he's just not my guy. Like I don't know when he's going to be missing bats and when he's not. And I could just see looking at the slate last night, he was going to be popular, and I think he will be. They'll see the $7,400 price tag and like 1.3% swinging strike rate in his last start. I know it was against the Nationals, but he's not getting chases really. He's not getting ahead of guys. He's just not a guy that I want to play for 7,400. Much more interested in Trevor Richards.
So I think there's a little bit to like in the way that the Marlins are set up right now. Arrieta's been pretty good against righties this year, just from like a damage standpoint. And they're lining up 7 that are not exactly noted sluggers. And the lefties that are in the lineup are JT Riddle and Magneuris Sierra. So, like, it's not as if the lefties are set up to mash him. And he's been functionally fine. Like, he's not giving up a ton of hard contact against either hand. Let's see what it was. 28% against lefties, 26.5% against righties. That's appealing to me. I think that he can just go in this game. Super low implied total for the Marlins. I trust him to be able to last. Like 107 whip against righties this year. I think Arrieta can make up for his lack of missed bats with innings.
I mean, he may be able to do that. Either way, I think if he's getting the strikeouts, he's going to be inefficient or wear down. If he's going deep, he's going to be sacrificing strikeouts. So I don't think he's going to be someone that's going to kill me. Not a big swing and miss arm, at least not this year. I don't know what's going on with him. A couple of years ago, I might be interested in him here, but at that ownership, I don't think he kills me if I have 0 of him. So I'm not really worried about fading him.
Yeah, so, that's fair. And it's not as if anybody's going to be on the Marlins on the opposite side.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have quite a bit of Arrieta today. For some reason, I just see it as a spot where he like gets his groove back. I just can't get myself worried about like the Lewis Brinson, Austin Dean section of a Marlins lineup. It's a good park for pitching. I think all the signs are there for Arrieta to have like a really nice game. I could see 7 innings with 2 hits, stuff like that, where just kind of limits all of the damage.
Yeah, I mean, that still doesn't really hurt me that much. Even if he gets the win, that's like 20-some points, maybe, like low 20s.
I agree.
I think I could find that from someone his price or cheaper, maybe even on the other side.
I just don't see a ton of interesting stuff from like Robbie Ray down to Giolito. So
right, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Phillies bats. I like them a little bit on FanDuel. I'm double the field. I like them, I guess, on DK, but I don't really have a ton. Santana, Hoskins, Herrera would be the 3 that I'd be looking at the most on FanDuel. Similarly on DraftKings. Will you look to any Philly stacks on the opposite side of Richards?
I think it'll just be Rhys Hoskins in the non-Richard lineups that I have. Richards, and then Wilson Ramos maybe, but definitely Rhys Hoskins for 4,300. Too cheap already, and then you throw in the fact that Richards has problems with righty power, and it's just a really easy play for that price.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm completely with you there. And Marlins bats are a complete zero for me.
Yeah, I doubt I'll have much Marlins exposure.
Alrighty. Next game up, Royals and Indians. Royals 3.2 run implied total. Indians 4.8. The 68% chance to win for the Indians. Danny Duffy going for Kansas City. Mike Clevinger going for Cleveland. Clevinger 10% expected ownership on DraftKings. I have 18. 11% on FanDuel. I have 22. Clevinger, one of my favorite plays of the day, and now if his ownership is at 10%, I like him even more. What do you think about Clevinger for today?
I think he's just too expensive. So he's another one that I don't think kills me if I'm not playing him. I'm kind of just adopting Laffy's process yesterday. I really like how he looked at it. Like, is he actually gonna hurt you for 11K here even if he gets 25 or 30? And honestly, it's not that high of an upside spot. There's a bunch of lefties in here. I know there are some strikeouts.
There's a lot of strikeouts.
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't strike out lefties at nearly the rate he does righties, like under league average against lefties for Clevinger. And then I think he's over 27% against righties. So if this were a more righty-heavy lineup, I would be probably more interested in using Clevinger. But like Merrifield, Gordon, Bonifacio, Salvador Perez, all 20.6% or less. Same with O'Hearn against righties. So, yeah, I mean, I'm expecting him to have a fine start. But, he's priced close enough to Verlander where I'll just find the extra 1,300 and go up to him.
So you'd rather have Verlander at 41% ownership than Clevinger at 10?
Yeah.
Man, you're crazy. Now that I see Clevinger at 10, I'd like to flip-flop my exposure. I want to have as much Clevinger as I can and be lower on Verlander.
Yeah.
I love this Clevinger spot. Gordon, Dozier, O'Hearn, Bonifacio, Goodwin, Mondesi, Phillips, all of these guys project via Steamer to strike out at least 24% of the time. Phillips 35, Dozier 31. I'm just, if like Cam Gallagher might not strike out all that much in the 9-hole, 16% projected, but he's also terrible. So I'm not exactly worried. This is a great spot for Clevinger. I don't mind that his strikeout rate is league average against lefties if it's 28% against righties. I'm willing to take my chances here. I never would have expected 10%. I'm going to make sure that I have significantly more. I hope that 10% doesn't move. Hell, I hope it goes down.
It'll be less than that, I bet, in some of the tournaments that we're playing in. Like the Minimax, it'll be less than that. I'm very confident in that right now. Just, he's not, like he's been 11K a couple times this year. And people are going to see this and be off him. So if you really like the matchup and you think he's got 30-plus point upside or good chance to do that at least, because I think he does have 30-plus point upside, but I think the chances of him getting there and like being a great value here are not very high. So, and I don't think he's got a great chance to be the highest raw point pitcher either.
Last 3 starts, 6 2/3, 6 innings, 6 innings, 9 Ks, 8 Ks, 7 Ks, cruising lately.
But look at the DK points in those. You know, like even if he does that again, so the 9 strike, like he's going to need the 6 inning, 6 2/3, 9 strikeout game, no earned run type of thing, where he's actually starting to like hurt me for fading him.
I mean, like, look, I see what you're saying, but like you can make that case for every single expensive pitcher that pitches every day.
I know you absolutely can, but I just think there are better spots. I'm worried about some of these lefties, not for power reasons or like that he's going to get rocked, but just if he has one slip up or goes a couple innings without getting a strikeout, then all of a sudden you're in trouble if you're playing him for 11K. Whereas I think Verlander's a lot less likely to do that just because he just cruises through when he's on. He's just insane.
Look, I obviously love Verlander. It's a really good spot. I don't think that he should be 4-1 in ownership to Clevenger against the Royals.
That's a fair point.
I'm really interested in this now. This is like, I'm invigorated by this Clevenger spot. I'm on Team Clevenger. Swinging strike rate in those last 3 starts, 15%, 10, 9.5, and 18. So,
I mean,
I'm getting excited. Team Mike Clevenger today. I'm putting my stamp on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whoa, gotta get this win. Difference is Clevenger is not an ace or even a 2, maybe.
I mean, he's definitely a 2.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. This conversation doesn't matter. An ace or a 2, who cares? He's good.
He's really cut out his walk rate this year, which I think is interesting, without really having too big of an impact to his strikeout rate.
Yeah.
I'm excited now. I'm in. I'm all in on this slate. 15 gamer, smash my Clevenger. Done. There
you go.
Listen to me. I promise you I will lead you to the promised land. Promise for a promised land. God, when Clevenger gets bombed today, it's going to suck. Bats. I want to have more Indians than I do. And this feels like the perfect Jake has the top of the Indians order spot. Am I right?
Yeah, I'll definitely have Ramirez and Lindor. Too cheap, as weird as it is to say for those 2 guys. 2 5K players, but yeah, I think they are too cheap. And then for fillers, I'm just looking for the guys right around, Ramirez, Brantley, and Encarnacion. So, God, it just sucks to stack the Indians, like having to play one of these guys besides Gomes. Like, I wish they just hit Gomes 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
I feel much better about this Cleveland stack, but because you can't play Yandy and Jose Ramirez on DK. So It's kind of frustrating.
Similar to when Alonso's in the lineup too. You got to make your pick.
Yeah, you always have to make your pick at 2 guys, and it seems like you always pick wrong, for me at least. I know it's not actually that way, but you remember the losses rather than the wins.
Yeah.
So
they're way more plentiful.
That's true. It's DFS. So so really those top 4, I think I like a lot.
Sure. And we're on the same page there. Those guys look great. Brandon Guyer, I think, is worth a really big look on FanDuel if you're stacking the Indians. Only 2,200, keeps your stack cheap, allows you to get Lindor, Ramirez, and not be super over budget. If Guyer's hitting 6th against a lefty, I think that's a really nice spot.
Only issue I have with Guyer is he does get pinch hit for quite a bit. So, like, he's got to do something in his first couple at bats against the lefty. Otherwise, you could be stuck with a 0.
Yeah, that's a very reasonable stance. I'm less concerned in those situations when someone's as cheap as he is, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. It's you losing out on a plate appearance or 2 is very, very valuable. So it is something to be completely aware of. Anything else here? Well, we're not looking at Royals bats, right? Ryan O'Hearn.
No, not. I mean, I may not play Clevenger, but I don't need to target against him on a 15 gamer.
Okay, sounds good. To the Red Sox we go. Red Sox and Braves. Red Sox 4.7 run implied total. Braves 4.1. It's a 55% chance to win for the Sox. Rick Porcello going for Boston. Sean Newcomb going for Atlanta. This one's kind of crazy to me, but I guess it's just a testament of the offenses here. I don't really have any Porcello or Newcomb. I'm sure you don't have Porcello, but any interest in Newcomb?
No, not against the Red Sox. Steve Pearce looking to be in this lineup.
Yeah.
I'd much rather play the other side of this and go with the Boston bats.
Which no one is doing, by the way. So we'll get into that.
I mean, yeah, I like Newcomb. I think he's a fine pitcher. But, I mean, I targeted the Rockies on the road against Newcomb. Like, I'll gladly take Betts, JD, Bogarts, Pierce, Kinsler, 4,100 as well. I know they're expensive, but on the lineups where I'm not going to Verlander, I think I'll be able to fit him in pretty easily with some of these mid-tier / lower price guys.
Okay. So let's talk Red Sox now, because I agree with you. I want to have the Red Sox. They're my number 3 stack on both sites. I'm going to read off the expected ownerships for the projected lineup for the Sox. You ready?
Yeah.
2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 6, 0, 2.
It's pretty nice.
Do you mind explaining to me how the hell the Red Sox are going to go unowned here?
So Steve Pearce is going to be popular. Steve Pearce will be double digits.
All of these numbers are going to go up to like 7, 8, 9, right? We should not be approaching the Red Sox to be essentially unowned in this spot.
I would have to think. Yeah, they're going to get up a little bit. Just a lefty, righty, it doesn't really matter. They should be owned pretty much every slate just as a contrarian pivot, if nothing else. They just have so much upside if they knock the starter out.
Yeah, I mean, I want everybody in this lineup. Literally everybody.
I mean, I'm not crazy about Benintendi against lefties, and he's 4,900, so that's my one concern. It's how I usually get different with Boston against lefties, but like if someone were to play him, I wouldn't be like, well, you're an idiot for playing Benintendi, because you're playing the stack in hopes that they knock out the starter early anyways, and they see a righty.
Yeah, and like if you're afraid of Benintendi in this spot, the more likely scenario is he's going to see a sea of righties in the second half of the game because everyone else is a righty. It's not like they're going to bring in a lefty to go back through Pierce, Martinez, Bogarts type stuff. So like Benintendi might get a one-off lefty, but you have to assume that Benintendi is going to like normalize to a righty later on in the game. I love this Sox team. 12% aggregate ownership for me on FanDuel, 11 on DK. I'm mashing them. I can't imagine not mashing them.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna get talked about more as the day goes on, I think.
I think I just got an eyelash on my contact. Anything for the Braves bats while I try to save my eye?
Just Freddie Freeman's too cheap at 4,500, but that is really it.
Agreed on Freeman. He is really cheap.
I mean, 4,500. Like, he's not going up against Scherzer. What are we doing here, DK?
It's so true, though. Like, man, he's so good. Is he one of the more underrated people in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to get there. And
just as a hitter.
Better, yeah. But, like, even when they were bad a couple years ago, he was still crushing.
Yeah, I got a little nervous when that contract came around, but he is paying it off big time. Oh, you could tell how like red my eye is now. Whatever. Any interest in Braves bats besides Freeman? Like, do you get to Acuna or Inciarte or Markakis at all?
I don't see myself getting maybe Markakis if I'm rolling 5-2-1s with Freeman.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Acuna, if he's against the lefty here, it's a little bit different for 5,200, but like I'd rather just pay 500 more and get up to JD on the other side, or get up to Betts. So, or go down to Steve Pearce.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have so much Pearce. If he's under 10% owned, I'm laughing to the bank. I hope.
I mean, if he is, then we're just completely missing something. He's cheap, dual position eligibility, platoon split, batting third.
Yeah.
Crunched in between Betts, Benintendi, JD, and Bogarts.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Angels, you were dog shit yesterday. I was hoping that my Rangers fade would matter, but it turns out every bat faded itself on the main slate. 4.7 run implied total for the Angels, 4.8 for the Rangers. Andrew Heaney going for the Angels. Mike Minor going for Texas. I'm certainly not touching any pitching in this game. And I'm going back to the Angels when it comes to bats. So let's start with pitching. Any Heaney or Minor for you?
No, I'm not targeting Arlington on a 15-game slate with two guys that I'm not even crazy about. Overall, I mean, I like Heaney, but he's priced around Robbie Ray and Marquez. I'll gladly take either of those two guys over him. So he's a pretty easy cross-off for me. Really love Jerkson Profar against Heaney here for 4,300 dual position eligibility. And then like I'll get to a bunch of Texas full stacks because they just have so much power. And I mean, their ownership is kind of there on the top 3 guys, but you could get pretty different easily if you go down to a Profar or I don't know, kind of Falefa or someone like that. So
hot take in the chat, Lorenzo Robinson. Pierce didn't do nothing against the lefty last time. With that sort of information, how could you go to Steve Pierce? I'm going to fade the Rangers again tonight. I have none on FanDuel. I have half the field on DK. It's not exceptional hitting weather. Again, rainy, mid-80s. I'm going to take my chances not being there and prioritize the Angels. Which makes me think, do I want to have some Andrew Heaney?
I just don't see the need for it.
You're probably right. But
like if there's no
at least there's ownership on the Rangers.
True.
That could be a way to at least help offset being there.
Right. If Heaney was on the slate yesterday, then yeah, I would have a bunch of interest in him because you've got the super concentrated ownership on the Texas bats, and you got a guy that I know is good, and maybe he just survives and limits the damage just enough where you're creating leverage on the field. But here, I just don't see him. Like, I don't think you're going to need him to do anything significant. Like, does he have 25, 30 point upside here? I don't know that he does.
I think he might.
Okay.
I honestly think that he might. If the ballpark isn't going to be as bandboxy as it normally is, there's a lot of swing and miss in this Rangers lineup.
There is.
He could rack it up. It wouldn't shock me, but it's been a while since he's had like really big K days. So I don't know if he's just due. His last, I don't know, I'm going to name 10 starts, but it could be 9 or 11. I can't count it. 6, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 6. Then the previous 2 games before that run was 10 and 10 for strikeouts. So 10 can get him there. He had 5 Ks against them in Texas a couple weeks ago. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to talk myself into too much, but I don't mind having a little bit if the Rangers are going to have some steam. I do like avoiding the Rangers. Give me all the Angels. Give me David Fletcher. Give me Mike Trout, obviously. Give me Jay Up. Give me Andrelton Simmons, who went 0 for 4 with a ridiculous amount of guys left on last night.
I didn't hear it. You cut out for like 10 seconds.
I was just talking about how great I think the Angels are today. I'm over the field on both sides. They are a little chalky. Fletcher, Trout, Upton, Simmons. Simmons murderous yesterday in lineups, 0 for 4 with a bunch of left on. Didn't help one bit. Do you like the Angels at all?
Very specific guys. It's 3 through 6. So Trout, Upton, Simmons, Ohtani. I know those are like the guys that everyone wants to play, but that's kind of who I want to play. So yeah, I do like the Angels quite a bit against Minor. Just a guy that gives up a lot of hard contact to really both sides. I know he's coming off a good start, but I really don't expect him to do that. At least against those guys, they should square him up pretty nicely.
Sean V, not a big fan against stacking against Minor, so
that's fine.
Okay.
Angels will do next to nothing against Minor. We got to write these takes down. What else did he say?
I don't know. We need to start a Sean V Tumblr.
He says Trevor Richards is a lock too. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Mike Minor gave up 2 dongs in his last start, multiple games with 2 dongs, which is a lot of dongs for a starter. Doesn't help that you pitch in Texas. Yeah, I'll happily stack against Mike Minor today.
Me too.
Yeah, crazy people. Cubbies hosting, in Milwaukee. 4.5 run implied total for both teams. It's a 50-50 game. Mike Montgomery going for Chicago. Wade Miley going for Milwaukee. I don't want any Montgomery, and I'm not being Miley today. Either pitcher interesting to you?
Nope. No. Just I'd much rather take Giolito or a guy that has recently shown strikeout ability. Trevor Richards, I'd rather get up to Beeks. So there's just too many guys around here that I'm way more likely to play than either of these two low strikeout guys.
Yeah, completely agree. Bats, not super popular. No one really on the Brewers. No one really on the Cubs. I feel like we should be, though, right?
Yeah.
At least one of these teams pops off.
I like both sides, kind of, especially the righties. So how much better does that Cubs lineup look with? Well, now they have Daniel Murphy, but also Chris Bryant back.
Yeah, like, it's crazy how putting Chris Bryant in the lineup makes the team look better.
Yeah. I mean, just all of a sudden it goes from like average lineup to just like this is like a World Series contending team right here. Murphy, Baez, Rizzo, Bryant to start off with. If Contreras starts to hit, they're really dangerous. So I like those guys that I mentioned, the top four, mostly Chris Bryant, Contreras, and Baez. But yeah, and then you're on the Brewers too, I assume? I wrote them up.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, I'm not on either of these teams right now, but just thinking about the matchup, I'd love to have, if they're going to go unowned, this is a spot where I'd like to go because of it's another one of those unowned make a play for talent type things. I'm not really worried about Mike Montgomery or Wade Miley. They're not immune to getting lit up. So if on the Brewers side, I want Kane and Aguilar and Braun and Scope. And on the Cubs side, I want the righties, but like I'm still fine having Murphy or Rizzo because they're in opportune spots in the lineup. This is a game that I'm going to want to pay much closer attention to closer to lock.
Yeah. So Hader pitched last night. I know that, or yesterday during the day. I'm trying to see who else went for the Brewers, but I guess I'm more likely to deploy a full stack with the Brewers than the Cubs just because I am still worried about the rest of the arms in that Brewers bullpen, where I'm not as worried with the Cubs. There's just going to be so many balls put in play today. I think that's fair to say in this game.
Yeah.
Guy with a 15.1% strikeout rate in Montgomery and 16.2 in Miley. I know they both can create ground balls and be kind of frustrating to stack against, but I mean, they're certainly prone to getting blown up when you got this many balls in play. A couple of them find the grass and you're in trouble pitching with guys on base to Jesus Aguilar, Braun, or Scope, or even Eric Kratz, I think is fine here against Montgomery. So, yeah, I definitely like the Brewers. You got Kane, Yelich, and Aguilar to start off. Yeah, what's not to like? This lineup looks really deep.
Yeah, my only concern is that no team on DraftKings is really appearing to be chalk. So it's not as if I'm taking some big stand. It really is just sort of pick the lineups that you like more so than leverage against ownership. Most aggregate ownership on DK is 7% today. It's just a very, very straight line.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have to worry about ownership that much. Yelich 5.9 on DK. Yeah, he's kind of earned it.
Yeah. It's also very much not a spot where I want him today.
Yeah.
Tigers and White Sox. This one's going to pain me on the inside so much. Tigers 4-run implied total. White Sox 4.9. It's a 59% chance to win for the White Sox. Francisco Liriano going for Detroit. Luke Giolito going for Chicago. Giolito expected 20% ownership. I have 16. Liriano 14% expected ownership. I have 13. Are either of those two things crazy?
How much Liriano did you say you had?
I'm basically with the field on both guys. 20% Giolito, I have 16. 14% Liriano, I have 13.
I like the White Sox a lot.
As for bats?
Yeah.
Cool. I've got Tigers, so this should be great.
Okay.
Where's Grace at? She's gonna love this.
Hi, right. A bunch of Matt Davidson just isn't that good at home. Okay. I mean, whatever. So Davidson's actually the guy I really like. Anderson as well. Rondon, Kevin Smith. They've got guys that you could play in the infield, dual position guys. Lamar looking to lead off at 3,400 as well. I know they're not the best righties, but Liriano can make you look a lot better than what you are. So struggles with walks and home runs and can really handle lefties. But I'll even play Palka here for 4,300 in hopes that they get to Liriano and get into that Tigers bullpen.
Yeah, not much ownership to the White Sox. 5% aggregate on FanDuel, only 3 on DK. It's basically just Tim Anderson and Matt Davidson. This is just... Look, one of these guys are going to get shellacked, right?
Probably. It's a good chance.
Like, they have a tendency to do so, which is making me nervous. It's making me even more nervous that I've been shitting heavily on Giolito since April, and now here I am rolling out 15%-ish. Oh, it's so scary. But the Tigers and the White Sox are like two of the trashiest trash bags of teams right now. So it's hard to avoid.
True.
I have a ton of Tigers on DK. They are 7% owned on DraftKings. I have 11. It's another cheap day for them. So Candelario, Aducci, Castellanos, Ronnie Rodriguez, James McCann. These are guys that are going to end up in, or at least in theory, would end up in a decent amount of my lines. I would have loved to just say, all right, I'm going to fade this Tigers ownership. But if Giolito is getting owned as well, then I think I want to be on all sides of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about the Tigers stack. I mean, Giolito could revert back into his old self and be terrible. But he's someone we're used to stack against, like, pretty recently. And now he just looks so much better, getting swinging strikes. At least 9.9% swinging strike rate in each of his last 4. It's going to get righties. It sets up well. I know he has faced the Tigers a bunch this year. So that's a little bit nerve-wracking. They're very familiar with his stuff, but he's kind of a changed pitcher. So talking through it a little bit, like 20% does worry me. That was kind of the threshold where I'm starting to look at the other side, but I don't know. I mean, Right now I'm on Giolito. I will have around that. That's kind of what I was thinking is 20-25% Giolito, and I'm not really gaining any ground on the field if I do that. So hopefully his ownership changes one way or the other, and I can get more clarity on the situation. But certainly still a volatile play, regardless of what we've seen as of late.
I mean, I would guess that it would go up more than it would go down.
I would think so too. People are going to see this. They're going to, the White Sox are getting steam, minus 162, wind blowing in. It's Detroit. It's just a very logical play, especially for a guy that's looked better.
Yeah, the stuff has been better, but let's dig into this. Last 6 starts, which seems to be where the line is drawn in the sand. It's been missing bats. Can't disagree with it. 9.6 Ks per 9, 26.5 K rate. Very good, we would agree, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kept the ball in the park, relatively speaking, but 14% home run per fly ball rate. Okay. Here's where I'm interested. 239 BABIP. 38.5% hard contact.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely. I mean, you got to get a little bit lucky to do this against Boston and the Yankees. He's had a pretty easy run of matchups, but he's done it twice against Detroit.
I mean, that Boston one is the one that stands out the most. To 2-hit Boston,
right? God.
Is it lucky? I don't know.
I mean, maybe he just had his best stuff, and Boston had an off day. He had a 154 BABIP, but there weren't that many balls in play. And he was getting ground balls when they were in play.
What's the league average swinging strike rate?
I mean, for me, I want like double digits. I don't know exactly. I think the league average is probably around 8.5 or 9.
I'm grabbing it now just so I have it in my head. 10.1 among starters this year.
Oh, okay. There we go.
He is at 10.6 in that 6 stretch start. So just a hair above league average. He's been incredibly hit lucky. I'm giving out all the information. I don't know what my conclusion is, but the 239 BABIP concerns me, coupled with the relatively average swinging strike rate and the hard contact.
But relatively average swinging strike rate for him, for a guy that wasn't missing bats at all earlier in the year, is a big jump up. So even if he's league average now, you'd take a league average pitcher with a longer track record against Detroit for 6,300 and some strikeout upside.
Sure, but on a slate with 30 pitchers, I don't think that all of the extra stuff that has happened for Giolito makes him 20% owned today. I mean, don't get me wrong, the matchup's great. Tigers are bad. But I'm a little worrisome that the hits could just fall. Especially on a team where, like, it's not like the Tigers are just going to be putting these in the cheap seats. There's going to be contact of anything. So it's tricky for me.
I mean, we'll see. If that Boston start didn't exist, I'd be a lot more likely to be like, oh, he's just done this against Detroit twice, Minnesota, Tampa. But the Boston start happened, and he looked incredible. So, not incredible. He looked very, very good. He wasn't Verlander out there just like mowing him down in 3 pitches, but he looked very good.
Tune in to the process show, 11 o'clock, myself and Adam breaking it down, and I could let you guys know right now, I'm going to have Adam dig in on Luke Giolito.
Yeah, that's going to be a good person to watch do that.
Yeah. Interesting spot. I'm starting to think that I'm going to get away from Giolito.
Giolito will be around 10% ownership when the games start. I mean, what tournament are you talking about? I mean, low dollar? Could be. But I think at higher stakes, he's going to be 25, 30, 35.
Yeah, I don't see that 20 falling all that much.
No.
If he's popping up for me, naturally, I can assume that he's going to be relatively popular. Because I've been shitting on him for a while. I don't think we suddenly flipped it here. Alrighty. To the Twins we go. Twins and Astros. Twins 2.6 run implied total. Yuck. Astros 4.9. 75% chance to win for the Stros. Trevor May, the nominal starter for Minnesota. Justin Verlander going for Houston. Verlander, the chalkiest chalk that ever chalked today. 41% expected ownership on DK. 37% on FanDuel. I'm going to have less than this no matter what. My caps on a 15-game slate just naturally bring me in lower than what we're showing here. But boy, oh boy, does this grade out as a great start for Verlander. What do you want to do about his ownership, though? 40%. Where do you want to be?
It's tough to say now because I haven't crunched yet, but I'm probably gonna end up somewhere around that, or try to end up somewhere around that. He's not someone where for 12-3 I'm just going all in. He's not someone that I'm full fading, because I think he does have 35, 40 point upside in this spot. Like he just racks up the strikeouts so easily. It seems like 11 and 5 1/3 last time out. He hasn't even needed to go over 100 pitches his last couple starts. And he's just getting so many strikeouts. So you've got Kepler in there and Sano, Garver, Tyler Austin. I mean, the guys that aren't striking out aren't good hitters either. So it's just from a power perspective, and there being guys that strike out well above average in the Twins lineup, it just kind of all lines up as a really safe spot for Verlander.
Yeah, look, Verlander is very clearly the cash pitcher of the day. I don't think you'll have any problem doing what you need to do by going to Justin Verlander. He looks great. I'm a little nervous about 40% ownership on Verlander in a GPP. And I think that's why I'm going to try to be a little different with Clevenger, but you're not going to get me to say that this isn't a great spot. 9.6 projected Ks, clearly the highest number on the slate. Only next closest guy is Robbie Ray at 8, so a full K and a half higher. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Verlander is clearly a talent. I'm going to try to have less of him strictly from an ownership standpoint.
All right. I mean, Houston bats here.
I didn't get them, but I think that by the time I get closer to lock, I'm going to prioritize bats a little bit more so that I could push up teams like the Indians and the Astros. I can't imagine not wanting to have the Astros, at least the top section of it. Is there any? You're on the same page, right? You want the Astros?
Yeah, I mean, I like those top 4. They're still underpriced, top 5 even with Tyler White.
Yeah.
There's, God, I wish they would price them up because people are going to play them. I thought maybe get them at somewhat lower ownership, but when guys are paying up for a guy like Verlander, $4,400 George Springer is pretty easy to get in. Same with Correa, Tyler White as well. So they'll have some ownership, but I will have full Astros stacks for sure against this Twins bullpen.
No ownership to the Astros. 10% Springer, 6% Altuve, 1% Bregman, 5% Correa. I'd like to end up with all those guys at like 10% at the minimum.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to worry about ownership that much today. So, yeah, Astros perfectly fine. Twins bullpen, the 9th highest xFIP over the last 30 days. That's just a number I like to look at. I like to look at WHIP. They've been better in that department, but below average strikeouts. They just don't have a great bullpen.
Just to say this, I want to get your thoughts on it. Jeffrey Lanier in the chat. Chalk will never make or break you. It's what the other 2 players you have in your lineup with low ownership that help you win. In other words, it's 2 people that make your lineup unique and different. Yes, from a hitting standpoint, I pretty much completely agree. Chalk will break you in pitching. Chalk can break you in pitching.
I mean, it can. Yeah. I don't know. It's just
now there's a difference. There's a difference in chalk. Like Verlander is 41% because he's Justin Verlander and he mows people down, and the Twins have swing. Like Verlander's 41% to me is a lot different than Giolito being the chalk value guy.
Exactly. Jeff's or T McBee is right. That's correct, but incomplete in that you're not accounting for the opportunity costs in playing a high-priced chalky player.
Yeah. Like, if Verlander doesn't hit for you, you need to be very specifically right. It gives you 0 wiggle room.
And you were going to have a similar lineup construction, depending on what you do with your SP2. But when you're playing a high-priced chalk guy, and he's 40%, you're forced into, like, you put yourself in a box for different lineup constructions you can have. So it basically takes off a certain amount of stacks. You can't stack the Red Sox with Verlander and get the top guys.
No.
You're probably not going to be able to stack the top half of the Brewers lineup with Verlander. So you lose out on a lot of high-priced hitting if you're playing a chalk guy that 40% of other people are. And even if Verlander gives you the 35, you're still not even close to being there in terms of winning a tournament.
Exactly. And then when it comes to hitting, I'll use like a outfield will be a fine example. Who's chalk? Okay, so like Mike Trout today is projected at 16% ownership. JD Martinez is projected at essentially 0. If we assume that those numbers are correct, you should basically never use Mike Trout as a one-off outfielder. If you know that those 2 things are happening. Because Mike Trout is not going to be that much better on an individual basis compared to JD Martinez. Like, we're ignoring stacking and things like that. You should be picking JD Martinez in that spot because you're getting leverage over expected outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So I'm just trying to. Yeah, but if he's 40%, then you're with the field. Right. A 12-3 player, like, unless he gets 50 here or something ridiculous, Verlander's probably not breaking the slate where you have to have him to compete in tournaments.
Yeah.
And even if Verlander were to get 40 tonight, and let's say none of the the low tier guys, the 6K guys, got over 15, okay? But then a super expensive stack like Boston or the Brewers or the top half of Cleveland or someone went nuts and they scored 15 runs, and two guys double donged or something, like Verlander's still not the reason you're winning. You probably don't have Verlander in the top lineup still, even with that 40 spot. So I just need to take the slate as a whole. It's not just, okay, Verlander's going to have a really good game. Yeah, he might, and he probably will here, but is that going to be the reason you're winning a GPP where there's 30 teams with a chance to put up a huge score? Hitting wins the GPPs.
If an expensive stack does really well on a night with a chalky, expensive pitcher, chances are the expensive hitter stacks are going to be the stuff that's at the top of that tournament, not necessarily the Verlander piece.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a 4K punt that is viable,
yeah,
or something like that.
Right.
Because then you can get both in. But tonight, you're kind of choosing one or the other.
Yeah. $8,800 weighted average price is on the high side, especially on a 15-game slate. That's a pretty high average price for pitchers on a DraftKings slate.
No, Jeffrey, that was a good comment. That was a good discussion point. I think it was.
It's a good day for it. Because today's slate blows from like a really interesting analysis standpoint. So I'm happy to talk about something to get the fire stoked.
For like a 15-game slate, there's usually a bunch of teams that I'm really excited to play, and I'm not today. It was tough to pick 3 stacks for the spotlight hitters and stacks,
Yeah, like only the team we're about to talk about next has an implied total over 5, where I think we had 4 of them just on last night's main slate. Now, you can see how well that worked out, but offense not at a premium today. So let's get to that game. Giants and Rockies. Giants, 4.1 run implied total. Rockies, 5.4. It's a 62% chance to win for the Rockies. We're in Coors. Derek Rodriguez going for San Francisco. German Marquez going for Colorado. I'm going to give you the floor. Talk about Marquez.
Marquez has just been a stud, like one of the best pitchers in the MLB over the last month and a half. Capped it off with a 13 strikeout game against the Padres. Now, I know this isn't everything, and I say it every time, but just look at like his last 8 or 9 starts, like the game log. Just look at how deep he's going in the games. He's going 6-7 innings basically every time out. Regardless of whether he's in Coors or who he's playing, whether it's Houston or in Atlanta. Obviously he just dominated the Padres. He's getting swinging strikes. He's getting ahead of guys with first pitch strikes. He's getting chases against good teams. Like he's just doing everything perfectly, in my opinion. Like there's not really anything to point out where I'm worried about him besides the fact that he's in Coors. So if he's not in Coors and he's 11K, do you think he gets ownership here? Because if he's Clevenger's price, I think he gets a ton of ownership. But
I think that he gets ownership if he's not in Coors, but him being in Coors is not the reason I don't have him.
I mean, what is it? The Giants bats?
No, the $9,300 price tag.
Oh my God, he's easily a $9,300 pitcher in this spot. Like this is a discount. I honestly believe that. I'm treating him like a near ace pitcher. Like, would you play Clevenger in this spot for 9,300 in Coors? I guess put it that way.
I wish I had enough time to do that. Like flip flop. Okay, I think I can actually do this.
Or would you play Robbie Ray in Coors at this price? I don't know how valuable this discussion is, but just to see. Because I think he's a better pitcher than Robbie Ray is right now.
I think that I could put Clevenger in here as the Rockies starter and look at this and get value out of it. Let me check it out. Yeah, I would play Clevenger if he were 9,300.
in Coors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Marquez is so good. They're similar in that they both strike out righties at a super high rate. Marquez even better, over 32%, I think, this year. And it hasn't really mattered whether or not he's been in Coors. And now going up against a team, you take out McCutchen, who doesn't strike out a ton, against either hand. And now you're getting Austin Slater and Hunter Pence, if he's in, and Yorkis Hernandez. Crawford strikes out above league average. Hundley, same thing against righties. Longoria, too. It's just, there is a ton of strikeout upside once again. And if people aren't going to play him, I don't know what else they want to see from Marquez to not play him.
Yeah, so I think one of my problems is I'm underrepresenting how deep he can go into this game. For the year, his average innings, 157.7 innings for the season, 27 starts. It's 5.8 innings, but I mean 8.77, 7.6, 7.75, 6.6. Like, he's been going a lot deeper lately. So I do want to bump him up a little bit. That might help him a tad, but I really just think he's slightly overpriced. And I don't want someone that's slightly overpriced in Coors. It's not that Coors is making me, I don't have an aversion to him. 4.1 run implied total for the Giants is not scary to me, but I'd like him so much more if he was like 8,600.
Oh, $700 going to get you off of a guy?
I'm just saying, like, that would, it would start creeping into a point where I'd be able to offset the downside scenario. He looks good. Yeah. He looks really good. Right. I have no qualms with the take. He's been exceptional for 3 months, mowing people down at a really, really crazy rate.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. He's pitching clearly at the top of his game right now and gets a bad team. Have we seen a total near 4? I can't remember the last time in Coors a team's gone in with a total of 4.
It's really low.
Has Verlander pitched in Coors this year? I mean, maybe someone like him or Rich Hill or someone. I don't know. I guess no.
Scherzer.
It would have to be someone on Colorado. They're basically always favored at home.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be someone like Scherzer or something to get. But It would be inverse, I don't know. John Gray could do it, probably.
Probably.
If he were what John Gray was supposed to be, at least. Look, am I going to be mad if I end up with like 8-9% Marquez and he's low owned? Absolutely not. But he's not a guy that I could actually prioritize.
Okay. I'm prioritizing him.
Makad, yeah, I deserve that. my quote. I'd like him more if you were cheaper. Yeah, no fucking shit. Rockies bats. Are they anything other than in the top stack for you?
Yeah, they're one of the top. They're top 3 to 5 right now, pretty comfortably. They'll be one of my highest exposed. I think Derek Rodriguez has been very lucky, and this is a great spot for him to kind of get some of that regression that's been coming his way, especially against, either hand, but 45% hard contact against lefties, 26% hard line drive rate, like 248 BABIP against lefties, and then against righties, 246 BABIP, 24% line drive rate, 37% hard contact. He just gets squared up all the time, and he's not even getting that many ground balls, and he's still, these guys, they're going right into gloves. So Coors Field, perfect place for him to get rocked. I'd like this matchup even if it wasn't in Coors Field, but in that thin air, give me all these Rockies bats.
Yeah, they're not even crazy chalky. Charlie Blackmon, 12% ownership, is the highest guy on the Rockies. I'm going to have double these guys. A 5.4 run implied total is hard to ignore, but I am a little nervous that Rodriguez is just sort of that guy. 5.7% home run per fly ball rate this season. He just doesn't give up big hits. And the Rockies, while they are in Coors, have been dog shit against right-handed pitching this year.
Yeah, but that's more.
Is Derek Rodriguez just going to survive here?
I would be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, because I'm never shocked in baseball. Or there's very few times throughout the season where I'll be like, wow, I cannot believe that happened. I mean, he has had good enough results where maybe you just say, maybe he's a better pitcher than what the plate discipline stuff says and the hard contact says. But man, this seems like a really, really good spot for the Rockies. And if people aren't going to be on them as much as they should be, in my opinion, then yeah, I'm going to be double, triple the field on pretty much all these guys.
Yeah, so they're the. I'm dramatically over the field on two teams, the Rockies and the Red Sox. The Rockies are relatively chalky, but it's just this blend of. Here's everybody that's at either 6 or 7% aggregate ownership. Rockies, Angels, Tigers, Giants, Pirates, Indians, Rangers. Like, that's a lot of teams at the exact, like, a very similar spot in ownership. So I think it's easy to get over the field on the Rockies. If the Rockies went up to like 10, 11% aggregate ownership, I think that I would try to fade them. I have this weird feeling that Rodriguez is just going to be like fine. Not good from a DFS perspective, but limit damage.
Well, he relies on a four-seam curve sinker. I mean, I think he's really going to struggle. Sinker and curve and Coors, I mean, have fun with that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't move the way it usually does. So if you're off even a little bit, you are going to get rocked.
Yeah, the problem is they just don't rock anybody.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I always use home road splits with Colorado just because, or not always, but I like to a lot just because they're such a different team at home. But let's see. Yeah, at home over the last month, that's a pretty small sample, but 73 WRC plus. They have not been good in Coors lately against righties. Let's move it back to like.
Okay, so let's just have that conversation. Why are they bad?
They shouldn't be.
Right? Like, I don't know what to make of this team.
I don't know.
It's like they've got so many guys that I like, and then I look at their weighted runs created plus against righties for the season at 78, and it's just like, oh, okay, they've been terrible. They've been absolutely terrible.
They should change their name. Yeah, they shouldn't be called the Rockies. They don't rock anyone.
Yeah. The Pebbles. I don't even deserve credit for that. Okay, so you're clearly not going to be taking any Giants hitters, right?
No. Belt. He's the one guy I'll have a little bit of exposure to in the one-off form, but I just respect Marquez so much.
Sure. They're my number 7 stack on FanDuel, number 5 on DK. I'm slightly over the field on both. Top 3, Panic, Belt, Longoria, and then a little bit of Nick Hundley on DK. But I don't know how happy I'll be about that if Marquez's ownership doesn't go up.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get cruising. We've been getting off topic a lot. Padres and Diamondbacks. Padres 3.5 run implied total. D-backs 4.5. It's a 62% chance to win for the Diamondbacks. Joey Lucchesi going for San Diego. Robbie Ray going for Arizona. Ray, 32% expected ownership on DK. I'll be right there. I've got 29. I'd say that Ray is probably the best sort of combination of upside and price on the day. Would you agree with me there?
I mean, I think it's Marquez, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Same boat though. Like Ray's in that category for sure.
Okay. Sorry, me not being on Marquez pushed him out of my mind there, but Marquez is that sort of guy. I think he makes for another nice chalk, or another nice cash option rather. I'm trying to say chalk a lot because that guy tweeted at us yesterday saying we say it too much, so I'm really trying to jam that shit home.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you doing with Robbie Ray? I assume so. Are you going to fade Ray?
Chalk Robbie Ray. So I'm not going to fade him. He's usually never a full fade for me. But I will probably end up lower than the field just because I'm going to try to get an ownership edge on Marquez in this range.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Just organically, I'll end up with less than 30% Robbie Ray or whatever we have him projected at. Some interest in Will Myers, dual position eligibility for 4,100. I've got him just crushing lefties. 40% hard contact, 261 ISO, 116 WRC plus. Franmil Reyes, same thing. I mean, you saw what he could do last night against a righty.
Fuck him.
Power lefty like Ray. Like, absolutely. Urias is cheap and batting second at a second base position. Renfroe, big power. Definitely a scary matchup for Robbie Ray. So I feel pretty good about my Marquez love in this range.
3.5 run implied total for the Padres in Arizona is kind of funny. Padres are they shouldn't be good. But I don't know what to think.
Pretty well.
Yeah. But you getting any Joey Lucchesi at 8K?
No, I'm worried about that. Or I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about his matchup as well. Big looping curveball going up against Pollock and Goldschmidt. Souza. I like 1, 2, 3 quite a bit for Arizona. They're just too cheap.
Yep.
Like Goldschmidt's too cheap. 5K against the lefty.
Yeah. I love them. I like them even more on FanDuel too.
Yeah. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 is where I'll get a lot of my Arizona exposure to.
I completely agree with you. Have to. Just too good of a spot. Too good of a price point. I won't really get to many Padres, although if last night is any sign, maybe I should try to force in a little bit against Robbie Ray's ownership. But I just don't see anybody else that I'd rather go to in that price range than Robbie Ray, you know? It's a callback to Marquez.
I know one guy.
Yeah, I'm trying here. Is it Andrew Heaney?
It is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Souza, Pollock, Goldschmidt is really all I'm looking for here, and I think we're on the same page. Robbie Ray could get blown up, and it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. I mean, he's got issues with power for sure.
He could also strike out 12.
You don't have much on these last 3 games, right? It's going to go really quick.
Yeah, that would be very true. Agreed. Yankees and A's. Yankees 4.5 run implied total. A's 4. It's 56% chance to win for the Yanks. J-Hap going for the Yankees. Liam Hendricks, the nominal starter for Oakland, unrosterable, not going to pitch long enough. And I don't want any Hap at 10-4. And apparently neither does the public. Is this a decent spot for Hap, though, outside of the fact that he's going to face 9 righties?
No, I think it's a pretty poor spot for Hap. Just way too many righties. Oakland's not striking out, and they have a lot of power. I know it's not the best park for power, but like Chapman is a stud. Chris Davis, Piscotty, Pinder can hit lefties. Luriano, I mean, he at least has power. So, yeah, I'm off Hap. That's a pretty easy fade for me. Like, wouldn't you rather have Rich Hill for 400 less?
I'm starting to think no. Hap's been really solid against righties this year. 387 xFIP. Still striking them out more than he strikes out righties or lefties, oddly enough. Hasn't been getting hit all that hard. The ballpark helps him out a ton. If he's not owned, I think he's a weird like pay up to be contrarian guy. I mean, should Rich Hill be 24% owned and J-Hap be 0?
I mean, Rich Hill has a way, way better matchup. No, not 24-0. But
I agree that Rich Hill has an incredible matchup. I don't want to disagree there, but man, I think this is a sneaky better spot than it's coming off on the surface.
Great park. I mean, great pitching environment.
Yeah.
So if you like Hap, then by all means. But I can't get exposure to all these guys, so I'm having some Ray, a bunch of Marquez, and Hap's going to be left out of that.
26% K rate against lefties, 26% K rate against righties this year.
Yeah, he's not someone I'm really targeting against. So
interesting. I might prioritize Hap over Rich Hill, but we'll get there. Any bats in this game? I mean, you could talk me into guys like Stanton because I'm not worried about the park for his power, but this doesn't strike me as the type of place that I want to have any major hitting options.
Yeah, I'm pretty much good on hitting all around here. Like, not really anything I want. Oakland bullpen really solid. Hap, obviously a very good pitcher, and again, not someone I want to target against.
Same page. Moving on. Mets and Dodgers. Here we go. Mets 3.1 run implied total. Dodgers 4.7. It's a 68% chance to win for the Dodgers. Jason Vargas going for New York. Rich Hill going for LA. This is quite a good matchup for Rich Hill. On my first crunch, I have quite a bit of him. 24% expected ownership on DraftKings. I've got 28. Similar story for me on FanDuel. It's just a great spot. The Mets are really bad. Been really bad against lefties all season. So yeah, look, I like Rich Hill. I'm not so sure that I want to have all of my exposure be on Rich Hill and none of it go to J.A. Happ. But look, there's a reason that he is getting the love, and that's because the Mets are bad.
Yeah, so Rich Hill, great matchup. I mean, he looks much better to me. But for 10K, he's too high priced and too highly owned. At least projected for me to want to make a big stand on him as far as getting over the field. So, I mean, if he ends up in a few of my lineups, I'd like to get him a little bit, but I just don't know if I'll get there. And I am worried about his upside. He's only gone 100 pitches one time in his last 9 starts. So he's kind of back down to being limited to 90 pitches, a few over 90. So I think he pitches fine. I think he probably gets 5 or 6 innings, and he's super safe. But yeah, he won't be a staple of my lineups.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe reevaluate my Rich Hill exposure.
It's 89 and 90 his last 2 starts. It's you really want to pay 10K for that?
It is pretty solid pitching weather, though.
And we're in September, too. And the Dodgers are they? I can't remember what the Dodgers record is. Let's see. Are they in a playoff spot right now? Are they expected to make the playoffs?
They are a half game behind the Rockies in the West. Their odds for making the playoffs right now per FanGraphs are 84%. They are the favorite to win the division. And if they don't do that, wild card is looking to be Brewers for sure, 78. Cardinals have 76 wins. So they are in the mix for either the wild card or the NL West outright.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know how safe they're going to be with him. I would expect pretty safe. But who knows with Dave Roberts.
Should we put all of our exposure on the Dodgers today?
If there's one team I go all in on, I think it's the Dodgers. I keep just doubling down on them, but
Vargas, all righties against Jason Vargas.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have a lefty or two in there just to lower the expected ownership because Vargas,
it's already low.
Yeah, I mean, we see
only Dozier at 14%. Next closest, Matt Kemp at 8%.
Yeah, Dozier. I mean, Dozier's fine, but he's not even hitting lefties that hard this year or that well. 94 WRC plus. Give me Turner, give me Machado, Kemp, Chris Taylor. I love Kike. I'd like to see Muncy and or Bellinger in here just because I would love to play them at low ownership lefty. But regardless, righties or lefties, Vargas just I don't know how he doesn't get at least squared up a ton here. And, if the balls find the mitts, that's fine. But if he has one of his Houdini starts, I'll just take the L, but whatever. I'm all over the Dodgers. They're probably my favorite stack on the night.
Yeah, 16.7% home run per fly ball rate against lefties, 16.9 against righties. Something's leaving the yard here. I like the Dodgers quite a bit. I want to prioritize the Dodgers here.
Yeah.
Final game. I can't type. There we go. Orioles and Mariners. Eat shit, Mariners. 3.3 run implied total for the Orioles. 4.6 for the Mariners. 64% chance to win for said Mariners. Alex Cobb going for Baltimore. Does he pitch every day? Jesus. Wade LeBlanc going for Seattle. LeBlanc getting a little bit of juice. 7% expected ownership on DK, 8,400. I have a similar amount. I think he's fine here. You always at least want to have a couple shares of whoever is pitching against Baltimore, just because they can strike out like the best of them. From a hitting standpoint, though, I don't have much interest in either side of this game. What about you? Are you looking for anything here? Do you like Cobb at 5,900?
No, I don't like Cobb for 5,900. If this were a team with more swing and miss, then yeah, I would probably consider Cobb. I mean, it is a good pitching park and such, but like they just have pesky bats like D. Gordon and Span, and like Cano doesn't strike out. So even if Cobb pitches well, I don't think he's gonna like have a chance at more than 15 or 16 DK points. So I guess I like Cano quite a bit. I like Cruz a little bit. And Haniger's fine, but this isn't going to be a full stack where I'm just like, oh, Alex Cobb on the other side. Got to stack up the Mariners. So then LeBlanc, just too expensive for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one pretty easy for me.
Same page. I'll have a couple like VR, Mancini, Jones, Chris Davis type lines where if something breaks right, I don't mind it in a late night hammer spot, but they're just so highly variant that I think it's worth just having a couple shots at it. They don't look good. That's for sure.
My late night hammer is Los Dodgers.
Yeah. Oh, that's like Thor's hammer.
They're going to get shut out.
All right, people, like and subscribe. We want to do that first and foremost. We are doing a giveaway on Friday. Somebody's going to walk away with a free Awesemo.com subscription. So get ready for Friday. But for now, let's take a look at a couple crunches before we get out of here. You want to look at said Dodgers?
Yeah, you want to share your screen quick, and then
sure,
we can look at the Dodgers and a couple other teams and get out.
Yeah. Myself and Adam in 25 minutes. Get ready.
Should be fun.
Deep dive into Luke Giolito. Deep dive into maybe Herman Marquez. Deep dive into potentially J.A. Happ. Plus whatever else Adam wants to do because it's his show too. How about a Rich Hill, Robbie Ray, 4-man Dodgers stack, 3-man Tigers, and a 1-off George Springer?
I mean, yeah, I like the non-Tigers parts, but yeah. Dang, you could get Hill and Ray, so you could get Marquez and Ray and do something different. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right, so how about Rich Hill, Arrieta, 4-man Dodgers, Nunez, JD, Steve Pearce, and a 1-off Jim Adducci? I assume you want to get Arrieta out of there, but otherwise...
So I would want to do like Marquez and Ray or something like that. I'm pretty sure you can almost... No, you can't quite do that, but...
Well, let's drop to Ray here, which should allow me to get to Marquez.
Not quite.
Nope. Let's drop to Marquez here. And then you're going to need to change out probably JD Martinez.
Yeah, so I would go like Marquez and I don't even know. No, I mean, I would keep JD. I would drop from Arrieta to like Giolito and go swap out a Ducci for someone.
How about that? Oop, I didn't get it. How about that?
That's disgusting. Yeah.
You're going to have a lineup that looks pretty similar to that, I would imagine.
I will have like 20 that look just like that. 2 uniques. So I'm going in on these bats that I really love. Dodgers, Rockies, Harper, Soto, Indians. So I guess I will end up with a lot less Verlander than I anticipated, but
okay. I don't have anything else to talk about. We're going to be talking about baseball all day, so let's go ahead and get out of here. thanks everybody for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Check out all the content. Process show coming up from A to B, coming out at 2:30. We'll have the deeper dive. Adam and Laffy doing a pre-lock show. Myself and Chris will be doing the pre-lock show tonight at 6. Laffy will have the deep dive article out for premium members on Osmo.com early this afternoon. So tons of baseball stuff coming out. I know everybody's asking about football content. It's coming, people. Don't worry. It's coming. No need to put things out super early and then just continue to make changes based on all the nonsense that happened up until this weekend. So rest assured it's coming. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you later.